In a world that's on fire, thank God for movies from the San Francisco Bay Area. I am Jon Negroni, co-founder and editor at In Between Drafts, and from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, he's a film writer over at Comic Book Resources. It's Will Ashton. Will, how's it going?
Okay, I think they prefer to be called CBR now, but you do
CBR?
you. No, CBR.
CBR. I mean, why?
I guess because they want to be like the YMCA, where it was like they want to be more inclusive, but like the name, so they're gonna keep the the acronym, but not the full name.
So it stands for something else. Come back, really.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say the YMCA, which, that does stand for
the
something.
YMCA. That's what R stands for, yeah. Yeah, today we are doing a special bonus episode. We're going to talk about the new scary movie, and that's not new scary movie as in I'm describing a movie by calling it scary. No, I'm talking about the movie that is called Scary Movie, parentheses, 2026. And I know we already did on the main show, we had Brogan on. We talked about Masters of the Universe. And as I mentioned in that episode, the reason Will wasn't on there was because he didn't want to watch Masters of the Universe. But now he's sending me text messages saying, like, I wanted to watch Masters of the Universe. Why didn't I get to go on the show?
No, what I said was, initially what I was going to do is I suggested we do I Love Boosters or something, a film that's seen, so that we could talk about two films that one of you'd already seen or I had already seen. And then we could just find a middle point. But you were talking about doing two new films. And I was like, well, I don't know if I can see those in time. So you're like, well, I already contacted Brogan. We're doing a bonus episode.
That's
and I was
not
like,
how it happened at all. No, because you said you would prefer to watch Scary Movie.
Well, that's true.
And so I was like, okay, well, then I'll talk about Scary Movie with you. And I'll talk about Masters of the Universe with Brogan. And it all worked out. Especially because we weren't able to record until later in the week. So anyway, all of that to say, lots of new movies. I mean, we're in the throes of summer. Lots going on. If you're curious, we actually, on thankgodformovies.com, I released my review of Disclosure Day, which is coming out on the 12th. I assume, Will, that's going to be our big movie for next week. I assume you're going to be checking that one out as soon as you can.
Absolutely. But I am very excited to see The Furious. I'm almost equally as excited for both those at this point.
I'm seeing The Furious tonight, and I will be furious if you don't watch it soon because I want to talk to you about it. I have a feeling it's going to be a rip-roaring time. In terms of other movies, I mean, so there's this movie called The Amazing Digital Circus, The Last Act. Are we covering that one? It doesn't have a Rotten Tomatoes score, but the audience score is 94%, 2,500 plus verified rating. This is like the other movie.
Yeah, I don't even... Is it actually a film? It's like the finale to the web series, and they're putting it in theaters.
It is an hour and 35 minutes long.
All right,
it's
that's a
hitting
film.
Wide release. Yes, I mean, yes.
I don't know. For some reason, I thought I was told that it's like 2 episodes put together, and that it's like a feature length because of that, and then they're just releasing it in theaters for extra, getting some money, because I guess apparently $20 million worth of people will go to the theaters to see it. But
that could be the case. I mean, look, I don't know anything about this. Zero.
Yeah, it was
not a thing.
I don't know. I guess we're just not online enough, which is kind of impressive considering, how online we already are. But yeah, this is one of those things where it's fairly niche, I guess. Or maybe we're just totally out of touch, because I didn't know anything about this until it came out and it was playing at a number of theaters near me, and it made maybe even more money than Masters of the Universe, for all I know.
Yeah, for all you know. The other movie that came out in wide release this past weekend was Power Ballad. I did a review of that one for In Between Drafts. I ended up liking that one. Is it on your radar? I know with John Carney, he's not like your favorite, but you're not like a hater of the John Carney variety.
I love Once, and I feel like everything else I've seen from him has been good to fine.
I think that's fair, except I would say Sing Street is his masterpiece. I love Sing Street. I rewatch it every couple of years. I love Once, too. I mean, I hold those two movies up in pretty high esteem myself. Yeah, I will say, Power Ballad, it's not up at that level, but it's pretty good. It's definitely better than Flora and Son. Definitely better than Begin Again. So I think you would probably find it at least good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I like Sing Street. I think that's probably his second best that I've seen. Power Ballad just seems like one of those films that I don't feel like I need to see in theaters, but if it's on streaming, I'm inclined to check it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say you should prioritize it necessarily, although I want to support the movie overall. I want other people to see it. I will say that it is one of those movies. It's kind of like Wild Rose and Whiplash, those kind of music films where like the ending's the best part. It's like where the big thing happens. And it was pretty cool to see that like with a crowd. So other than that, though, like every other aspect of the movie does have like rental energy. So I'll say that. The other thing that I know you just saw Mortal Kombat 2. That was one of the ones that, I mean, we both kind of skipped it when it came out. Do you think I need to go see Mortal Kombat 2 or wait for it? Or did you have a rip-roaring time at that one?
I mean, are you a big fan of the games?
No,
okay.
Not really.
If you're not a big fan of the games, I think you can hold off. It is better than the last one, I will say. It's more entertaining. The fights are stronger. They're put a little bit more present. I just remember the fights. I mean, I really don't remember much about the last one, but I just remember, other than it being boring and having a cool beginning, that the fights were kind of few and far between in that movie. This one, it's a little bit closer to the games. It's a little bit more in the spirit of the games. And they have Johnny Cage in there, who kind of livens things up a little bit. I agree with you in your one assessment back when the movie came out that he seems kind of miscast. Like, he's not bad in the film. It just, I don't know, it doesn't feel as natural for him in a way that, I don't know, I feel like a more reflexive actor could have pulled off the Johnny Cage energy maybe a little bit more, but they make him more of like a washed up kind of over it guy, so it doesn't not work. I don't know. It's real down the middle, I would say. It's like nothing that you need to see, but like I wasn't mad I saw it. So
yeah, I'm definitely not feeling that urgency to see it. In terms of what else is on our radar, Thursday I'm going to be seeing Toy Story 5. So we'll obviously get to that movie closer to the release date, June 19th. I don't have plans to see Stop That Train. It just doesn't quite look like my thing. I was talking to Bergen about it on the main show.
Hold on.
Okay.
It's Stop That Train.
I'm sorry. But I am planning. So Friday, there's a screening. There were 2 screenings this past week for Girls Like Girls, but they were both during the day, and so I couldn't make either of them. So I'm probably just going to see that one in theaters. And then Caroline, I'm planning to see this weekend. I really want to see it this weekend if I can. So just letting you know, Will, if you're kind of like, because I missed the boat on I Love Boosters. It really came and went quickly, and so I'm not sure when I'm going to be able to see that one. So which is unfortunate. I want to have a take.
I mean, I just think it's so crazy that such a San Francisco heavy movie played in less theaters and like in less amount of time than it did over here. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that a lot of that is because it's coming out at a time in the Bay Area too when there's so much stuff out, and it happened with Is God Is. Is God Is was only there for like less than a week.
But you got to see that one.
I did get to see that one because I was proactive too. I was able to see it, and then I was going to see I Love Boosters on like a Tuesday or something, and then I missed the boat, and then here we are. Power Ballad already, like some of the screenings got canceled, and then I missed like 2 screenings in a row for it. I mean, it's like a chaotic time. It's a chaotic time, but I'm going to do my best to catch up on these things because I know you and I have a lot to prepare for before we get to Minions and Monsters, which is going to be going to be the big one.
Yeah, I mean, Caroline, we're playing at the theater. We actually started that on Friday. I just haven't really felt much drive to see it, but if you want to talk about it.
Ironic, because the poster is like a car.
Right. But yeah, I mean, if you want to, I'm curious. I just watched that director's last 2 films pretty recently, and I would certainly have some things to say about this one, I'm sure. So if you want to talk about it, I'll talk about it with you.
We'll see. And that's Adam Raymer, I think is how you pronounce his name, the director you're talking about. Yeah. I kind of want to see it because it just feels like a perfectly watchable like movie. Like it's my local movie theater. I'm just gonna walk over to the theater and get. I'm like really feeling this new life where I can walk to a theater and just watch these movies because like there's no to do or production about it. I'm just saying. So.
All right.
Which is why, Will Ashton, I know it's different for you because you get to work at a theater, and so you can just kind of like get off your shift and be like, all right, I'm going to go watch City Slickers. That's because that's playing at a Fathom event. I don't know. I just made that up.
No, not quite. But yeah, it's, I don't know. You do have to kind of make more of a concentrated effort. I've been kind of prioritizing some more repertoire stuff than newer films, unlike you. But, there's definitely stuff coming up that I'm excited about, as we mentioned, and some things that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I stand on Toy Story 5. It's like half excitement, half obligatory, maybe like a small sliver of like...
I'm only worried.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm only worried.
I think it's going to be fine. I just don't really... I don't know. It's like this like, what do you call it? Like a pyramid of like silver glasses that I just feel like like a kid at the table is just keeps shaking it. And we're like, no, 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 no. It's fine.
Don't do that. Yeah. I feel the same way because, like, I feel like it's probably going to be like a step down from Toy Story 4 and not even a dramatic step down. But the problem is that Toy Story 4 just barely justified its existence, just barely. And it was so difficult to accept that. So I don't know. Nothing I've seen. I haven't watched a lot of the marketing stuff around it, like the teasers, the trailers, and all that. I tried to avoid it because first of all, it depresses me. Second of all, I just, I want to at least have that where I can maybe be a little bit surprised. The only thing I know is that they made Woody bald and fat bellied or something. And then also there's an iPad. And that's all I know. That's it. I did listen to the Taylor Swift song. So I have a feeling they're doing like Jesse's and like her original owner. If you listen to that song, I'm like, oh shoot. Are they going to do that? Are they going to retcon Jesse and Emily from Toy Story 2? If they do that, oh my God, I'm not going to be happy unless they somehow miraculously nail it. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off in the weeds. We're not here to talk about Toy Story. We're here to talk about a scary story. One of the scariest stories of them all. That's Scary Movie 2026 or Scary Movie 6. And the reason it's called that, and first of all, what a weekend. The two big movies in wide release were both like movies that have parentheses of like the year. We had like these back-to-back weeks of like Obsession, and then it wasn't back-to-back, but we had back rooms. We're getting these like original films making a bunch of money, and then like Star Wars kind of thrown in there, and then we had like Is God Is, I Love Boosters, Tuner, like oh my gosh, and then the big like June, like the first weekend of June, we get Scary Movie 2026 and Masters of the Universe 2026. Your mileage will vary on both of those movies. So,
Why?
And also the reason it's called that is because it's ripping from Scream 2022.
Well, Halloween too, as well. I mean, Halloween also did that.
Yes, there's like a bunch of Halloween in there, but I don't know. I get what you're saying.
The title wise.
The title, yeah.
And also, like, I know what you did last summer. All these horror movies recently have done this annoying trend of like trying to not seem old by being numeraled, but rather just the original title again to seem fresh for the kids.
Yeah. How fun. So this is a parody film. It's directed by Michael Titus, written by the Wayans brothers. So the Wayans got the movie rights back. So if you follow the lore, the first two films, the Wayans were heavily involved, of course, starring in it, along with Anna Faris and Regina Hall. However, from Scary Movie 3 onward, so 3, 4, and 5, those movies were taken away from the Wayans and kind of just sort of went in even more kind of wacky directions. I'm one of those people who really like Scary Movie 3. That's my favorite of them. I think it's the funniest one. No shame to the Wayans, although I don't necessarily like them that much in terms like they're not filmmakers or talented. Like I don't really like their shtick as much. I wasn't a big White Chicks fan, but yeah.
I mean, I am very much with you, and I was going to wait until the review because I thought you were going to be more of a hardcore Scary Movie 1 guy, but Scary Movie 3 by far is the best one. Like, anyone that says otherwise is, like, fooling themselves, I think. Or just very nostalgic. Or they just really, really like weed humor, I guess. But, yeah, the thing that I think makes the third movie work the best, it's unfortunately under rather sad circumstances, is that David Zucker was brought in. Not the sad part. That was actually a very wise choice to take over the franchise. But clearly a lot of the jokes that they were planning to do with the third movie, like, got uncreditedly put into the third movie. But where in the later films, like, that would kind of feel a little hodgepodgey. This actually, I think in 3 it works because it's like the Wayans' energetic energy with the like slapstick, expertise of David Zucker, and it just blended really well. And obviously that movie has flaws and there's things about it that don't age well, but it just kind of feels like a perfect medium of, as far as Scary Movie goes, of the two sensibilities.
I totally agree. Yeah, I think, and I will say part of it too is that Scary Movie 3 came out at the right time for me because I was in like middle school.
Same here.
So yeah, I was like, oh, this is like perfect because this is like my kind of humor, you know?
I mean, I am going to write a franchise fixation on this. I already even started it, but I was just saying, like, watching Scary Movie 3 in 5th grade is like the 4D experience. Like, it's just what it is, the optimal way of seeing the film. 3D, 4D, XD, whatever you want, like seats shaking.
Will just wants the D. Excuse me. But yeah, no, and you know what else about it? It is about Scary Movie 3. The jokes just hold up. A lot of the jokes hold up. They're just kind of like funny because they're funny. They're not funny just because they're winking and nodding at something that you know exists.
They're silly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very silly, slapsticky. It's more in the tradition of like the Naked Gun movies or Airplane, where like, yeah, you know, like Airplane technically is like a parody of a bunch of disaster movies from the 70s. But that's not why people love Airplane. That's not why people rewatch it. They rewatch it because the jokes are just funny no matter what era you watch it. Like, it's just humor in its purest form. Scary Movie 3 is nowhere near as funny in that way, but it is closer to that than a lot of the other scary movies. There's a reason why, like, I never see memes for Scary Movies 1 and 2 or 4 and 5. I only ever see people like sharing like the thing with the hat,
of course,
and like explaining the donut and the yeah.
Oh man, I love the
President Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, I actually forgot about that gag until I rewatched the film. But yeah, there's so much. And Simon Rex in that movie, and I am glad Sean Baker recognized his untapped talent with Red Rocket, because he is really funny in the third movie. Like he is. He's bringing it, and like the fourth movie is lesser, I think, because he's not in it that much, other than like a quick cameo.
The 8 Mile. Sorry, I'm gonna start cracking up just thinking about it.
You just hate me because I'm black.
Yeah, so Scary Movie 2026. This one is definitely more of like a spiritual sequel to the first two movies, because it's the Wayans. They're back. They have Anna Faris back as Cindy Campbell. And then they, of course, have Regina Hall coming back as Brenda Meeks. And they're all kind of reunited. It's Ghostface again. It's mainly kind of ripping from the Scream kind of reboot. It's also, as you already mentioned, it's taken some stuff from Halloween. The cold open makes some jokes around one battle after another. You know, there's a bunch of movies they throw in here, as they usually do, into a big stew. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, because there's not much of a plot here. I don't think I need to say it. I mean, they have like the next generation of characters. I got to bring up the daughter character, Olivia Rose Keegan, who plays Anna Faris's daughter. There's two of them, two daughters. Yeah. The younger one, who plays Tuesday, is Savannah Lee Nassif, and they call her Tuesday because Jenna Ortega, of course, played the younger sister, and she also plays Wednesday, but they couldn't call her Wednesday because of some legal thing. I don't know. Literally, there was no joke to it. They just called her that, and then they gave her the hair, and then that's the entire joke. But I will admit, the actress who plays Anna Faris's daughter kind of killed it in terms of like the Anna Faris like impression. Oh, yeah. It was actually one of the only things I like in the movie. Period.
Yeah, I mean, if they're gonna make another one, which they probably will. This movie made so much money, and it's probably not that expensive to make. I really hope they bring her back, because she's like the one new addition that I'm like, okay, she's got the goods. Like, she's funny, and she's just not really given much like funny stuff to do, but she's clearly bringing that energy, and it's very reminiscent of Anna Faris, not only in terms of like nailing the mannerisms and having kind of similar facial features, but just having that earnest gutso kind of going for it vibe that was so crucial to making Anna Faris the key to, and obviously Regina Hall, the keys to the franchise.
Yeah, it's a $30 million budget, by the way, and box office wise, it's already made over $100 million. So yeah, huge success for Paramount right now. So yeah, it's the Wayans brothers, kind of, you know, Sean and Marlon Wayans. So, you know, Ray is back, Shorty is back. They're kind of doing the same jokes from the first two movies. I will say, actually, I'm not gonna lie, the first Scary Movie does have a few gags I still see, like when Anna Faris runs away, and and in case you haven't noticed, Ray's gay too, and that whole thing. Okay, yes, I do see those jokes kind of going around.
I mean, I often see like the Carmen Electra, like right way, wrong way gag gets shared a lot, and you know, like stuff like that, like her getting stabbed and the gelatin comes out for her boob and stuff like that. Like those jokes, I feel like I see more of than anything from Scary Movie 2. I don't see anyone. The only thing that I see people share from 2, which is like probably the best gag in it, is just the Cindy, this is skeleton, this is bones, which is like the one funny gag in 2.
I don't even remember that one. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, all that said, the movie's kind of leaning more into sort of like a lot of the humor that the first two movies had. More risks, of course, and like, you know, Black culture, African American culture, and all that stuff, and like leaning more into that, but also kind of doing the thing where like we're gonna reference a bunch of movies. We're just gonna like do a bunch of parodies within here, kind of movie 43 style, I guess. Man, I despise this movie though. I thought this sucked. Like, this was just bad. I don't think I didn't laugh a single time. I was like lightly amused at a couple of things, but I think what's frustrating for me with this movie is that I'm just waiting for a punchline. Like I'm waiting for the joke to mean something or for like the joke to go beyond, you know how this thing exists. And like even the kind of jokes that they're doing that are supposed to be kind of like they're just gags unto themselves. I just found so many of them kind of just really tired. Nothing really clever and interesting. Like we know this can be done. Like we just had Naked Gun. What was it? Last year, the year before?
Last year,
With,
yeah.
yeah, with Liam Neeson and like there was a movie that like was able to do the visual gags, was able to do the parodies and everything, and like it wasn't a slam dunk in every respect, but I left a lot in that movie. I don't know how you felt though, but this one I didn't laugh a single time.
No, well, yeah, no, I thought this was pretty terrible. And I went in with pretty modest expectations. Like, I thought the trailers looked bad. I don't really hold as much nostalgia for the first two movies. I think the first one's okay. Like, there's definitely good stuff in the first movie. The classic movie theater scene. Anna Faris has some funny bits. I do get some chuckles out of like Shawn Wayans in that first movie too. How they're kind of like lampooning the like jock who's not in touch with his masculinity and stuff. I don't know. There's like stuff in the first movie that like is good, but this movie acts like that's like some like cornerstone of like comedy culture, and at best it's like, yeah, it was okay. I don't know. I recently just watched the other one, the Friends with Benefits to Scary Movies, No Strings Attached, which is Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th. And that movie is like, people bemoan it, but it's like, it's not that far off from Scary Movie. It's like, like they just both kind of just do similar kind of gags, and they have set kind of a wobbly foundation, which is that Scream is inherently sort of satirical, and that they have to kind of rely on jokes about I Know What You Did Last Summer because that's the more straight-faced Kevin Williamson script, and that there's stuff that kind of more directly parody that isn't just kind of a snake eating its own tail sort of thing. But as far as this movie goes, I just wanted it to be, like, I didn't ask it to be good. I didn't even want it to be okay. I just wanted it to be better than 5 and maybe 4. That was like the bar I had for it. And it didn't even reach that. I think it's worse than 5. And that's because like 5, for as bad as it is, at least has some of that Zucker brother like energy to it. It has some like gags that are clearly inspired in its own way. And it's a similar movie in the sense that like that movie's also kind of swinging for the fences with like Rise of the Planet of the Apes and like doing parodies of like other films that don't really fit the horror movie franchise. But yeah, this goes to like Friedberg and Seltzer level, where it's like the joke isn't even a joke. It's just like acknowledging films that have come out in the last few years, or acknowledging Scary Movie that came out 26 years ago, to the point where it's just like, I mean, you have to do something more than that. Like, you can't just like reference a film and expect to laugh. Like, I mean, there's, things you have to do comedically to justify your existence. And I just feel like the movie is so comfortably lazy and just kind of basking in its own nostalgia that it doesn't say anything, and it's not really even comedically vibrant in any particular respect. It's just kind of just relying on name dropping other horror movies that have come out recently and just kind of doing some like basically TikTok sketches about them that would be lazy by like SNL digital short standards.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like the worst SNL sketches in the last season are still better than anything I saw in this. And there were some pretty bad sketches this past season. So yeah, I agree so much. I think what I keep coming back to is just the fact that this thing is so late to the party. Because I think like it's been 4 years since the Scream 2022. It's been 8 years since Halloween 2018. Like these movies, like we've already gotten like satire over the reboot quill, right? So like in 2026, you're too late. This movie should have come out in like 2024 at the very latest, and that would have been pushing it. Because like we've already gotten like 2 Scream sequels to the 2022 one at this point. We've got a whole trilogy of those things. I didn't see the most recent one, granted.
Yeah.
Why would we? But like, yeah, they did the whole Halloween trilogy. They kind of touch on It Follows, I guess, in a really weird way. But again, they're so late to the party that they can't even make fun of like the art house sort of like elevated horror, quote unquote, kind of stuff. So like, what does it have left? Especially like since it's coming out in the wake of we're in a new horror wave where like we have these YouTubers coming in and making new movies, and like that's where everybody's at. And this movie is just like over here cracking weed jokes from 2001, and we're all like, okay, what do you think is so funny about weed, bro? Like everybody smells weed or smokes weed at this point. So they do like the streamer kind of thing. What was that a joke? He was I'm a streamer now and I make money. Okay.
Sure.
Isn't that hilarious?
Well,
it's not really.
I mean, again, a lot of these scenes are just kind of repackaged jokes from the first one. And the streamers thing is like the repackaging of, well, they kind of do it twice actually in this movie, but the whole thing where Ghostface, is it called Ghostface in Scary Movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's also called Ghostface. Like he kind of gets indoctrinated into Shorty's weed buddies in the first movie. And he's like, his face changes and he like does like the rap battle where he kills everybody. It's like a mix of that. And then just
it happens twice in this movie.
Right. They do it kind of twice.
The streaming, then they do the video games, and you're like,
right.
Didn't we already do this?
And I think that's part of the reason why like the train scene falls apart is that that's supposed to be a remixing of the Brenda movie theater scene, which is the idea of like, and why that movie nails the joke is like, because Brenda becomes so outsized and annoying, everyone else feels inclined to want to kill her before the killer, which is a good gag. And it's like, it's about like Brenda being deliberately annoying and unself-aware. But they try to make that joke here with a character pointing out like toxic masculinity and having they them pronouns, which is like, why would somebody kill somebody for that unless they were like a psychopath? Like the joke doesn't work either way. And it's also just old. It's like people are over that stuff. Like, I mean, people have made that joke already in like almost 10 years ago, which also this movie does jokes about Get Out, which is like, that almost came out 10 years ago.
Yeah,
It's just like,
But then it mixes it with K-pop Demon Hunters, which was like...
reference.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, because so I remember like the marketing for this, and I think part of the reason it had such a big weekend was because the marketing, I think, sold this as, hey, this is going to be so offensive, right? Like this is going to make all of these jokes, nobody's safe, this is going to be like that old-fashioned, scary movie, original era, like, we're going to offend you. We're going to say stuff we shouldn't. And I think people were like, hell yeah, I want to go see that, right? Like, Trump's president, anything's possible. And then you watch the actual movie.
Yeah.
Was it offensive? I'm not even sure. I mean, I guess, like, but it wasn't like offensive in a way that like it feels like it's trying to provoke anything.
Well,
like it's just kind of tired.
Right? It's like basically masquerading. It's just like almost. I know that the Wayans are probably liberal leaning, but it feels like a Republican grift. Like it's like even something like Lady Ballers, like they're transphobic, but I feel like, and that's probably a horrible movie. I've never watched it, but I'm sure they actually believe their transphobic beliefs. This movie, it's like I know Marlon Wayans has a trans son and accepts him for who he is. And it's like, you're just doing this because the first movie has like mostly outdated humor. And rather than doing a comedy that actually reflects upon that and tries to, level up by not punching down, but trying to address where that first movie kind of falls short in a modern respect, just decides to lean in on the offensive aspect of it because that's the easier joke and the easier money. And I have to assume it's also because David Ellis is now running Paramount. He's a Republican nut job, and he probably wanted the marketing to be like, this ain't your grandma's scary movie. We're getting more offensive, or whatever. It's like, no, safe spaces.
It's not a bad strategy, right? Because like you are going to make some money doing that. You're going to, like you're saying, you're going to grift. But then like the grift comes into the fact that like the actual movie is toothless. I mean, it's not really saying anything that's like, whoa, I can't believe. It's like, no, are you kidding me? That's just like Twitter on a Monday. Like
the worst episode of Come Town probably has more offensive gags than this whole movie.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, and I went into it kind of thinking like, well, if you're going to be like edgy, then sure, I'll see that. I'll see what you can do with that. What's the old Anthony Jeselnik quote? Like, it's about getting away with it. You can be edgy and offensive.
Oh yeah,
do you get away with it, right? Yeah. That's the fine line. And so like, I am going to go in with an open mind. And like, if you can pull it off, you can pull it off.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I mean. It's like Anthony Jeselnik is a master of that. As I mentioned from Come Town, Nick Mullen's a master of that. I mean, I think, what's his face? Shane Gillis can sometimes be good at that. It's kind of back and forth. But like, yeah, like there's a way you can be offensive in a modern sense and kind of walk the line of taboo senses. Louis C.K. at his best times was very good about doing that. Obviously, that's something that's harder to reckon with now because of obvious reasons. But Yeah, I mean, if you want to be offensive, I don't care. Go ahead, But you have to have a joke. Like, you can't just coast on the idea of being offensive. You either actually be offensive or be funny.
Yeah, because it'll just be like, here's a joke about that movie, Michael. And then here's one about Nosferatu. And then here's one about... And at a certain point, like, I actually think the way that they tie it up with, like, who the killer is, and then what happens at the very end, there's an F them kids line, and, like, that's me. I was like, that's great. That actually is, like, the part of the movie where I'm like, that's where you have an idea.
Yeah, that was actually, like, the only time I remember... There were, like, basically, like, 2 moments I remember laughing. One's a cunnilingus joke, and then just some stuff at the end. That's the only real time I remember laughing in this movie.
I did think the cunnilingus... Yeah, that one, I was like, oh, that's fun. I didn't laugh, but I was kind of like, oh, okay, you got me there.
I got a good hearty chuckle out of that one. It's like, okay, that's an actual visual gag, and that's kind of funny. It's not just based on, like they had to put work into that one. It's like, okay.
Yeah. You don't just like see the Megan doll in that like visual gag. It actually, connects. So yeah, I don't have much else to say. I just think it's a bad movie, waste of time. I think unless you're like the hardcore of the hardcore fans, even then I'd be cautious because like it may make you dislike the other scary movies. But
I mean,
not for me. I still think.
I will say, even though I don't think they really get funny stuff to do, I really appreciate Anna Faris and Regina Hall still bringing it. Like, yeah, they have the right energy. They I mean, I like I said, along with
I wanted so badly for Anna Faris to make a Chris Pratt joke. Oh my God. Because there's that whole line where they're like, where have you been? What have you been up to? And I wanted her to make a joke about Chris Pratt so bad. Sorry.
I mean, considering how like self-referential the movie is, even about itself, it wouldn't be out of line for what it's going for.
It writes itself because you're just like, who's that? Sounds like Garfield. Or like, you do anything with that. And so it'd be like, oh, I think it's probably Mario. Like, I don't know. And that's anyway.
I mean, the one other than just kind of acknowledging the obvious, like I said, that Regina Hall and Anna Faris are great and deserve better. I do think there's a nugget of a good idea here, even outside of the ending, which is that Scream and other horror movies of the self-referential vein have kind of gotten so like up their own ass that like they kind of have reinvented the idea of like the only real way to be subversive is just to make a slasher movie. It's like the idea that like it's kind of a snake eating its own tail. I use that analogy already, but like it just kind of seems like there is a nugget of a good idea there of how the horror comedy franchise or genre, I mean, has kind of become so sort of like self-referential to itself that it's not even really satirizing or commenting on anything anymore. It's just kind of just like its own like, kind of circle jerk at this point. And like I wish the movie like did something with that. And it almost does, and then just doesn't. It's like
I like the idea. Like, okay, if I was writing this movie or pitching the concept, I'd say like your cold open maybe does make fun of Scream 2022. Like that's where you begin it, and then you literally like end that cold open with the F them kids angle, and then the rest of the movie just stick to Sinners, right? Like stick to a more recent one, a recent horror movie that actually like there's plenty of stuff to parody there. Right? There's so much to parody. I understand it's like a period film. You could still find ways to do it, especially because like I know they already did like a Vampires Suck and all that.
Oh yeah,
but I don't know. I just feel like the Scream thing. I guess like the whole idea of like if you're gonna do Scream, like you have to do it sooner. I understand that like technically Scream '96 and the first scary movie was like a few years after that, but still.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the way to tackle it probably is to tackle the elevated horror A24 stuff. Like,
yeah, that's
Hereditary, The Witch, like stuff like that. Like things that like the movies themselves may not be new, but that genre has become the go-to de facto, like what horror is now. And obviously now it's kind of taking a new angle with the like YouTubers kind of taking over. But at the time that they were making this movie, that was kind of like what horror was. And like the idea of like using these, talking points and being more aesthetically focused than thematically heavy. There's material there for satire. And I'm sure they could have come up with something if they wanted to say something about the genre, but they didn't. They just wanted to bring back these characters and do like an FU to Weinstein because they got screwed over the last time. Which, fine. Yeah, fuck Weinstein. I'm sorry I swore, but like, yeah, it's like, I get that, but you still need to make a movie. It's like, that's a Twitter rant. That's not a movie.
All right. Well, let's see what some of our friends of the show have to say about this one. Let's see if anybody is Team Scary Movie? Let's find out. Ryan Oliver, friend of the show, of course, gave it 2 stars, so not a great start. It's a long one, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he said, I have to admit that I chuckled or downright laughed a dozen or 2 times. I'm not exactly proud of that, but against the amount of jokes attempted, that's about a .100 batting average. It's a frustrating experience because it's got far too many the references, the joke lazy setups, and the whole there are no safe spaces marketing ends up in a self-own with the way it limply lobs softballs at easy targets. Last thing he said here was also, give me a buddy cop movie with Damon Wayans Jr. and Heidi Gardner immediately. As far as non sequitur parodies in this go, the Longlegs bit was somewhat inspired, largely due to the 2 of them. Yeah,
there you go.
I thought, I agree with that one, actually. I think, like, when I saw them, I was like, oh, cool, I can't wait for those characters to come back, and they never do. But they would do great in, like, a kind of buddy cop thing, yeah.
I also appreciate that, like, those segments actually looked visually inspired. Like, you could tell that they were actually parodying the Osgood Perkins style. Whereas, like, most of his other film, like, doesn't really try to replicate either Scream or Ma or I Know What You Did Last Summer or any of those. I mean, or if it does it poorly. Like, those are the only 2 times. And, like, that's something I like about, like, Scream 3 is that, like, it's trying to copy the, like, M. Night Shyamalan style. So it heightens the joke. You know, it's like, you know, that's the key to Young Frankenstein. It's like, that's why it's so good is that, like, it looks like, a Frankenstein movie, but it just has these weird jokes. You know, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it just kind of felt like there's stuff that was crowbarred in or like stuff that they were like, oh, we also got to do this. Or it's like, oh, we also got to make fun of sinners. Oh, we also got to make fun of, Longlegs or whatever. And
I will admit, the way they fit weapons into there, I didn't hate that one. It didn't make me laugh, but I was like, oh, that's a decent enough joke. Like the way they work in the kids running around and everything. But again, like it was missing a punchline. It needed one more, to make it funny.
Punchline was that the one kid said 6'7", which is a reference to pop culture.
That's true. That did happen. All right, a friend of the show, Emma Sasick, also known as Auntie Emma, gave it 2.5 stars. Emma wrote, no one loves the Scary Movie franchise more than me and my best friend Kevin, so it pains me to give it this low of a rating. I was thinking about why all the other films work so much better compared to this one, and it's because the past films live within the world of the films they're parodying and find clever ways to tie them all together. In Scary Movie 3, they live in the world of The Ring, but they find a funny way to bring in The Matrix that makes sense narratively and lands comedically. Same thing with 1 with Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, 4 with The Grudge and War of the Worlds, etc. Here, while yes, it exists in the world of Scream 5, it tacks on so many parodies that don't always make sense. Sure, I had fun seeing their takes on The Substance, Get Out, Weapons, Sinners, Longlegs, etc., but they didn't land each time, and they seem to be thrown in there just to have them in there. So it was quite a bummer to lose some of those things that made this franchise so iconic in the first place. Needed way more Anna and Regina. It really should have just been a movie about them, but it was great to see them back together again at least. Yeah, we did mention The Substance one. I thought The Substance one was like, well, what was the joke there? Like, I was like, The Substance. It's a movie.
I mean, it's just about how women be older and trying to get Botox, and then somehow the Epstein files comes into it.
Right. And then somehow White Chicks gets into it as well. I was like, oh,
okay. So we're just spoiling stuff now? Like, I mean,
who cares?
Okay, fine.
Let's see here.
That's like the one spoiler, though, of the film, but I don't care. I mean, whatever at this point.
Yeah. Who's listening to this review at this point? I was like, I'm still going to go see it. Friend of the show, Kristen Lopez, gave it 1.5 stars. No review. Matt Donato, he has one of the highest scores I've seen on here. He gave it 3 stars. All right, Matt. All right, let's see what he's cooking up. Let's see what Matt has to say. He's one of our OGs after all. He said, Scary Movie is the welcome rebirth of a franchise that helped kickstart and then effectively killed the 2000s to 2010s spoof movement. It's hardly bulletproof. Sketch by sketch, your mileage will vary based on the stupidity on screen. That said, on pure entertainment value, the Wayans family proves what a mistake it was to cut them out of the Scary Movie picture. Get ready to laugh thanks to another stoner stupid parade of good time horror spoofery, as unpretentious as it is boldly mindless and comfortably dumb. He wrote a review of this at Daily Dead as well, but yeah.
Emma's comment reminded me of something, which is because you were talking about what the opening should have been. In my opinion, and I have nothing against Tiana Taylor, I thought she brought the right energy. She just didn't really have any jokes to do, but I thought she was actually one of the few bright spots about the movie. However, if I was in the pitching room, I think the obvious pull would have been to, especially as an FU to Scream, is to bring in Melissa Barrera. Just have her come in for the cold open. like do a gag and
That would've
acknowledge
been
like,
good.
especially considering where the gag goes. It's like that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was waiting for them to bring Tiana Taylor back because I was like, you know what? Like, it actually is a pretty decent cold open overall. It made me a little bit like, oh, maybe this is gonna kind of work out. Like, it won't be that good, but
You know why I was worried when the cold open happened, even though I was like more amused at that point than anything else, is because the cold opens are always usually the weakest parts of the scary movies. It's because like that's where they throw in like the most like celebrity cameos, and the punch lines are just like references, so they just kind of have to get the like trailer stuff out of the way. And so like once they like led up with like some of the better stuff in the beginning, I was like, oh no, we're in trouble. Like this is bad.
well, yeah, I was kind of feeling a little bit less worried during the cold open, yeah. But once we dropped into the real movie, I was like, oh, no. All right, Rotten Tomatoes score. Will Ashton, do you already know what the score is?
I got spoiled like the beginning, the initial score, but I don't know if it's changed.
What was the
since then.
initial when you saw it?
So the initial one that I saw, or was told rather, was that it was at 20%.
It is different.
Okay.
It is different. So your guess, you have a nice little baseline. So let's see what you can do with it.
For some reason, I imagine it's gone higher, not in the sense that like a lot more people like it, but rather just like people being like, maybe like, I don't know. Because it seems like there's a lot of people not as harsh as we are, weirdly. Like, I feel like more people are kind of being like, hey, it's nice to see the spoof back. Even though this movie is like on par with like, Epic Movie or any of those other things. It's like kind of doing the same shtick as like Meet the Spartans or whatever. But I think some people are more forgiving of that because like it's like Anna Faris is back. The Wayans have taken their franchise back, etc., etc.
So good story.
Yeah.
The story behind the movie is better than the story of the movie.
So I'm going to say it's at 36%.
Wow, that's bullish. That's bullish. Big change. And I forgot to mention, only 113 reviews counted. One of them is mine. But yeah, for folks listening who are like, oh, well, how much? Usually for movies this big, at least that have made this much money, we'd usually see at least 200 to 300 after we're recording this like several days after the release. So the embargo went up. Actually, there was no embargo because the critics weren't screened for this one. Shocker. But anyway, yeah. So out of 113 reviews, actually, well, it is not 36%. It is in between 20 and 36, but it's actually 24. So it only went up a little bit. But you're right to guess that it would perk up a touch.
I just figured people were like, the news is bad. Like any joke there'd be like one or two people being like, if any joke is a joke, they were liking it. So
that actually does remind me. I wish they had done more with because they spoof Ma. And so like Brenda is like the Ma character. And I kept waiting for that joke to like go somewhere because I was like, that's a great premise. Because Brenda like channeling Octavia Spencer, like that's great.
Well, also
that's a great idea. Why did they do more with it?
Also, like what makes that a better idea is that it's an actual evolution for Brenda's character, which is the idea of like she's like this like sex positive, raunchy woman. Now that she's a mom, she would want to like relive her youth and stuff like that. Like that's a natural progression for the character. And that's like the stuff where I was kind of hopeful from the trailer with like Shawn Wayne's character, where they were like, obviously the joke in the first two movies is that like he's a closeted gay, but he says a lot of gay stuff and does a lot of gay stuff. And the way that because they showed the sinner's gag where he says, why just half gay? I thought the joke was his character was going to be, but now he's openly gay.
Yeah.
In a society that no longer cares. So like the joke was going to be like, he thinks he's being progressive, like these opposite, where he's like, he thinks he's being like normal to like point out that he's gay, but no one notices or cares because it's just like most people now know or, are aware of gay people. But that would be an evolution that would make too much sense. We got to do the fact that he's now a closet gay again.
But still, he's going to do the sinner's thing. And then also, that was another weird thing too, is that like, they don't really go after Gen Z that much, right? Like with the Ma thing, you think the joke there would be like, she wants to party and stuff, but like Gen Z only wants to do drugs. And they like would be kind of like weed. That's like not like there's no Euphoria kind of humor, kind of like taking the piss out of like the stoner shorty. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking this much about it in general. The popcorn meter, the audience score, 2,500 plus verified ratings. What's your guess on that one?
I've been kind of keeping tabs with like Reddit and stuff because like I'm just curious, and I didn't want to spoil the Letterboxd score for me if that's something we even guess anymore. I was kind of curious, like, are the fans liking this? Because like it's critics, it's like a critic-proof movie. Like no one cares really what the critics say about this. Obviously the movie, but like, do the fans like this? Is this what they want? Are you happy? And it seems like it's right down the middle. Like some folks are like, I'm happy scary movies back. They're doing the thing I love from my childhood. And then other folks are just like, yeah, no, this is terrible. Like, this sucks. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a fan. This sucks. And so I think the Rotten Tomatoes score or the audience score is going to be a reflection of both sensibilities. And it's going to be right down the middle. And so I'm going to say 52%.
Not your day. Not your day, Will Ashton. This one's definitely higher. It's higher. Now, it's not that much higher. It's only 68%, but, you know, almost 20% higher than your guess. So I'd say that, to your point, I think more fans are being kinder to this than maybe you expected.
Are the audience scores from like Freedom Fighter 1776 being like, the woke folk can't handle the joke, 5 stars or whatever?
Well, like for example, this person gave it 3 out of 5 and said, good plot, but the jokes got lazy. Good movie if you watch the other 5 before watching this one. So there you go. That settles that, if you ask me. Cinema score, do you have a guess for that one?
Bless you.
Thanks.
I don't even know if the sneeze caught on the mic, so it might just seem like I was like...
Bless you, John.
Yeah, bless you, child. I'm going to say C+.
Hey, you got that right. There you go, Will Ashton. C+. But here's the tricky one, the letterbox, since you brought it up. How could we not?
2.5.
You got that one. Will Ashton. See, that's the thing, is like Rotten Tomatoes, you were so like, I don't know. But those two, you were decisive. You had it. There you go.
Just needed to get my confidence up.
All right. Well, that's Scary Movie. Again, we're looking to talk about Disclosure Day on the next episode. But of course, if there are other films too that you would like us to prioritize, we're always open to suggestions from the listeners. I know that we brought a lot of stuff up at the beginning of the show. So you can always reach out to us.
There's also Office Romance. Seems like a lot of people are watching that on Netflix.
I heard that was pretty bad, but I probably will see it.
The guy from I Think You Should Leave, Marty, what's his face? Or sorry, not I Think You Should Leave. Joe Perry Talks With You. He has his movie coming out, I think, next week. I'm excited for it. I think it's...
Well, for a second, I thought you were talking about Office Romance. I was like, no, that's Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso.
Never Change. Marty Sheshabu? Any case.
I'm going to look it up because...
that's going to be on Hulu, I think, next week.
I think you pronounce it Marty Shosbu or something similar to that.
But yeah, he's the main guy from the main director for Joe Perry Talks With You. So I'm excited for that movie. It may not be very good. I don't know if it is or not, but if for some reason people want to hear our thoughts on that, I'd love to talk about it.
Well, hey, let's see what happens. It looks like Topher Grace and Zach Cherry are in that, so I like seeing those guys. Sophia Black Delia, who she
was in something recently. Yeah, she was in.
From Remarkably Bright Creatures.
Oh, I was gonna say she was from I Love You Forever.
Thank you, Ashton. I needed to hear that. All right. Well, I think Will's Remarkably Bright Creature. Will just told me he loves me forever. And both of us are saying never change. But one thing that's going to change is the fact that this episode is still going, because we're going to end it right there. Thanks so much for listening to Thank God for Movies. We'll see you on the next one. From the Internet, California, I'm Jon and Negroni.
And from the Internet, Pennsylvania, a scary movie, Halloween,
horror
Obsession,
movie
Backrooms
joke,
Sinners, Hereditary.
Will Smith just slapped somebody. See you next time.